Johannesburg, where he's going to do a walkabout, we are told. There you see heavy security presence, as you expect, around the head of state. He's coming into the precinct where, of course, all the journalists are housed at the Nasrec Centre. We have communicated with our reporter, Aldrin St. Pierre. He's going to try and, doorstep the president and try and get some of his views on the pronouncements that's been made in the last 24 hours there. You see a high security contingent surrounding the president. He's going into the media center right now. We will go there. We'll go there live straight away. Aldrin St. Pierre is up and ready. Well, we haven't got that connection stabilized with Aldrin St. Pierre yet. As you can see, there's quite a lot of movement, official vehicles getting themselves ready for the president. Quite a few onlookers around for the president's walkabout. Of course, President Jacob Zuma will close proceedings a little bit later today. I think Aldrin's ready now. Very good morning to you once again, Aldrin. It's over to you.
As well as News 24, we expect him to pass by the SABC studio as well, and hopefully we'll be able to pop in a question and what the president's take is on what's currently happening in terms of the ANC's Policy Conference and what he feels the level of discussions are at in terms of the veracity, in terms of the arguments that are being made, and the quality of the debate as well. We've seen a number of proposals that have been made in the ANC's policy documents, about 9 documents, 11 commissions that have sat down to discuss these documents, and of course today we expect about 5 commissions to be reporting back to the plenary as well as to the media in terms of some of the resolutions that have been taken. But as we have been indicating throughout the morning, that the policy conference resolutions that have been taken will not be binding up until they go to the to the elective conference of the ANC, which is expected to be taking place in Gauteng. Unclear at the moment whether it will be this venue as well, Nasrec. The ANC normally uses the Gallagher estate in Midrand, where these ANC functions ordinarily will take place, but it seems that there's a lot of interest and as well as a lot of positive feedback with regards to this venue, the Nasrec venue, just on the outskirts of Soweto. Quite a big venue indeed. Well, President Jacob Zuma, as I've indicated, doing a walkabout. Actually, about 2 days ago, he did a similar walkabout, but not with looking at the media working stations and so forth. But when he was speaking about the policy conference that's underway, he spoke about the level of debates that's currently happening, but also raised his concerns around implementation of ANC policies, that there are some policies of the ANC that are great policies. However, though, those policies have not been implemented. One of those policies is the policy and the decision of the Polokwane Conference to implement or reduce the number of provinces. We know that policy decision is also part of the discussions that are currently taking place here, and of course will also go to the elective conference. But something that the president did actually mention in his opening remarks when he was speaking at the opening of the policy conference was that he wants an establishment of a quote-unquote entity. Not sure as yet what shape that entity will be taking, but he says that entity should be monitoring all policy decisions that the ANC have taken and whether those are implemented. Actually, just speaking about some of those policy decisions, if you look at the issue around digital migration as well, you'd remember that the ANC took a decision at the NGC Policy Conference that took place about 2 years ago, and there was that contestation between the communications subcommittee of the ANC as well as the Department of Communications Conference. Now, let's go to Criselda and see what Criselda can see from her side.
President Jacob Zuma any minute now, as he's done walking through the media houses as we're stationed here at Nasrec, to come here to the SABC studios as well. We're not expecting him to say much, if it's anything to go by with the walkabout that he did at the exhibition center a bit earlier on this week. President Jacob Zuma essentially talking about unity in the African National Congress. That's what they need to emerge from this conference with. But of course, as you pointed out, Aldrin, some of the concerns regarding the African National Congress, we'll see if we cannot get a question or two to President Jacob Zuma, but the security quite often not allowing him to take any questions at this time. But as this ANC Policy Conference comes to a close, we're expecting, quite a lot of robust debate, and all the debates that have taken place in this policy conference to go back to the branches. And we know discontent at this point on one of the key issues that came out of one of the press conferences yesterday relating to white monopoly capital. The ANC basically saying that the white monopoly capital in South Africa should not be classified as such, but should just be called monopoly capital, and that this notion does exist in all parts of the world, but it should not be referred to as white monopoly capital. The ANC Youth League as well, quite pertinently, as President Jacob Zuma does this walkabout, the ANC Youth League will also hold a press conference a little bit later on this morning. And our understanding is that they will refute the report given by Joel Nichathenze on white monopoly capital. What we do know of what was taking place inside one of those commissions is that the ANC Youth League did express its discontent with the ANC not wanting to classify it as direct as it is, while the ANC does say, of course, that the white monopoly in the economy is still an issue, but to classify it to that particular issue. So President Jacob Zuma still in one of those commissions at this stage. I'm not so sure if you can see how everyone is gathering just outside our window here at the moment as the president walks from one of the studios to the other. And I think at this point, in terms of the policies of the ANC, we're still waiting for quite a number of those feedback sessions. We're expecting the issue on social transformation to also, there's also going to be a media briefing on that, and economic transformation as well. We'll also feel some questions on that particular issue about the chairperson of the Integrity Committee, Derek Hanekom, coming under fire in one of those commissions because of his stance on the expropriation of land without compensation, and whether the chairperson of that committee himself will face disciplinary action over his remarks in March 2016, where he said the expropriation of land without compensation is not ANC policy. So while the ANC would certainly want to portray a united force as it comes out of this policy conference, which ends today, you can pick up that there is still some discontent amongst delegates who are attending this policy conference on an array of issues. Let's go back to Aldrin St-Pierre as President Jacob Zuma makes his way to the other studios, media studios that are here at Nasrec.
Well, yes, we're still waiting for President Jacob Zuma as he's making his way through the media center where people have set up, where we have the various stations that have been set up. He's now heading to the SABC news radio station booths, and then he'll probably walk into our television set where Criselda Lewis is standing by. I wonder if we'd be able to pop in a question to the president, hopefully, just with regards to, as I was indicating earlier, on the level of debate as well as the level of contestation. Yesterday, quite an important question that came from ANN7 was the role of the media and whether the ANC thinks that the media has a role to play in the concerns that they have been raised in terms of the country, the state of the country as well. And David Mahlobo, the Minister of Intelligence, as well as the member of the Subcommittee on Peace and Stability, did say that the media plays a crucial role, and some of those people who try to push regime change and so forth are the types of people who would then use the media. Understand now that he is on one of our radio stations. I wonder if we'd be able to listen in to the discussion that he's having, if at all. Well, we understand that we can't get the audio from the president, who's currently at one of our radio booths here at Nasrec. If you've just joined us, we are live at the ANC's Policy Conference. It's the final day of the ANC Policy Conference. 6 days. It's been, it's the weather itself. It's been hot. It's been cold. And as I was saying earlier on to Professor Susan Boysens, it's probably an analogy of the current state of the debates that have been taking place. Some say that they've been hot. Some say the debates have been cold. And we're waiting for President Jacob Zuma to come through and to see whether what he says, whether he believes that the type of debates and the quality of debates have been robust at all. Very, very important issues. The issue around land redistribution, the expropriation of land. We know that President Jacob Zuma is in favor of amending Section 25 of the Constitution. As I said earlier on, remember that when he was in Parliament, he called on all opposition parties, especially those who he believes serve the interest of the majority black voters, to come together and amend Section 25 of the Constitution. The likes of Jackson Mthembu, the likes of Derek Hanekom, as we've heard before in the discussions that have been taking place, they are not at all supporting that Section 25 of the Constitution be amended. They believe, Naledi Pandor actually saying that the way that the Constitution has been crafted, it is interwoven, that when you amend one section of the Constitution, it would have an impact on another section of the Constitution. And of course, we have our common law practices as well in the country. So you'd have to find a balance between those two issues. Let me just quickly see if we can see the president at the moment. Okay, still in our radio station, one of our radio stations. Let's just quickly go to Criselda. Criselda?
Well, thank you very much, Eldrin. In just the next few minutes, we're hoping to throw in a question or two to President Jacob Zuma, exactly on the quality and the level of the debate that's been taking place here at the National Policy Conference. The visuals you're seeing now on our screen, he's with SABC Radio, engaging with some of our producers as well as our anchors there. And it perhaps looks like they are fielding a question or two. Unfortunately, we can't hear that. We hope perhaps would be able to do that with the president and just gauge his thinking on what the quality of these debates were over the past couple of days. But without a doubt, the sentiment that he has shared in the very brief discussions that he has had with the media certainly indicate that he is hopeful that the African National Congress will be able to emerge from this policy conference united, and that the policies that the ANC is throwing forward would be able to benefit the ordinary people of South Africa. While Aldrin mentioned, yes, there are good policies that the ANC has put in place, in particular to benefit the poor of the poor, but certainly implementation remains one of those major concerns, and the ANC certainly would want to fast track that. Of course, all of these not ratified yet. We must indicate that. Well, I'm hearing now that President Jacob Zuma in any minute now will come into our studios here at SABC Television, where we've been broadcasting for the past few days. Let's get the president to come in just the next few minutes.